We'll take 5, maximum 10 minutes for questions or comments. Please make your questions brief, and we'll try to make the answers brief also. Any questions, comments? Yes. Come to the mic, please, and give us your name.
This morning. It's enormously inspiring. And so my question really is, it seems to me a common thread in all of the presentations this morning is that you're a group of people who had incredible determination and persistence and fortitude, but above all, great energy, creativeness, and optimism. And I'm wondering if you can, and this really is a question to anyone, talk about how did you maintain your enthusiasm and optimism and belief that all of this was possible in the face of, I'm sure, a lot of obstacles. As we go forward in our careers now, I think those lessons will be vital for us as we look forward to what perhaps we can contribute in the years ahead.
Excellent question. I think I'll answer that with a story. In the slides I showed you of Bangladesh from October 74 to April 75, everything was going to hell in a basket. And my deputy was a man by the name of Rangaraj, the first Indian paratrooper, fought with Stilwell in World War II, jumped behind the Chinese lines in Korea. And every day he said, hang in there, it's going to be all right. And there was no logic to that at all. Hang in there, it's going to be all right. So 3 years later, I was having a beer with Ranga in Somalia. And I said, Ranga, how could you be optimistic? He said, I didn't think you had a chance in hell in winning. But when I was with Stilwell in World War II and we were getting beaten in Burma, I learned that if you ever thought you'd be dead the next day, you would die. So the importance of optimism, and when I walk into a village in Africa with HIV, I feel Rangaraj's hand on my shoulder. Hang in there, it's going to be all right. And I think optimism is important. Obviously, evidence is important. And the third thing that's really important is listening and being sensitive to the culture that you're working in. Other questions, comments? Yes, David?
I would just like to say it's heroes and heroines I meet in the field. In Nigeria, I had a work group that actually paid someone to carry him to the field because he didn't walk. And every time I go out, I'm totally blown away by the enthusiasm of young people, or people new to the field, people that give great sacrifice, and they inspire me to go on. I just can't lose my enthusiasm.
Other questions come? Yes, Mike.
This is not a question, it's just a comment. A month ago, my wife and I attended my 45th medical school reunion, and part of the festivities was a panel of Nobel Prize winners from our faculty. And they were asked, in addition to having won the Nobel Prize, what do you take most satisfaction in your career? And Tom Weller pondered a little bit and said, well, when I was professor of tropical medicine and public health at Harvard Medical School, I wrote a little essay on why it would be important for people to study tropical medicine and public health. And that little essay was picked up and published in the New England Journal of Medicine. And a few years later, a young man came to me and said he'd read that essay, and it had inspired him to go to public health, and that was a young Bill Fegge.
Any other questions or comments? Yes, Don.
I would also add that I think an important aspect of the smallpox program is just having measurable, quantifiable objectives, and particularly in smallpox, where you can look back impact and really get not, or the extent to which that is very important in maintaining motivation. I also want to take this opportunity to know that 2 other
Any other comments, questions? Okay, there being none, I would like to thank you all for your presence and your participation. Smallpox, measles was not a good thing that happened long ago. It was enthusiasm, it was vision, it was support. It was the collection of data, the use of data. It was the focus on failures rather than the focus on successes. And most of all, it was entrusting ourselves to the people we worked with, to the leaders and that sort of thing. And I think with those lessons in mind, you in the EIS class of 2006 have good times ahead. Thank you very much.